Paolo Banchero was drafted first overall by the Orlando Magic in a decision that even caught him a little off guard as it happened. And in this video, I'm going to be going over why he is the perfect fit for the Orlando Magic. During the entire pre-draft process, I've always felt like Banchero should have been the unanimous first pick based on how talented I personally thought he was as the most NBA ready prospect. Not only does he have an extremely high ceiling, I think he also had the least amount of risk out of the prospects at the top of the draft. After years of disappointing seasons with no true vision of a bright future in the Magic organization, they knew they needed to hit a home run with the selection as they were gifted the chance to select first in the draft and finally get their hands on a superstar caliber prospect that could hopefully lead the team to many NBA championships. Lucky enough for them, I think this is exactly what they got their hands on. This is a very young team with multiple guys on their roster that have shown to be promising prospects, and although the future was already on the verge of looking bright with that group, there was still the question many people were asking on if they had a guy who had the capability of being the best player on a championship level team, which is so desperately needed if you want to compete for rings. Their young core of guys include Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Jalen Suggs, Mo Bamba, RJ Hampton, Bol, and you can even throw in Markelle Fultz. That's a lot of prospects, but they're all super young guys who can fully emerge as stars of their own, don't get me wrong, as none of them are older than 24 and were only drafted very recently. Personally, I felt like their trajectory was already to be in contention for the playoffs in just a couple of years, but adding Banchero to this mix is when I begin to understand that they finally have all of the potential pieces in place to now shift their focus to developing this core group of players who will one day compete for a championship. Paolo is the youngest of the bunch at 19, but at the same time, he'll occupy one of the starting 5 positions, and if I were to predict, it would be alongside Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Wagner, and Carter Jr. This is a guy that has been highly coveted as a top prospect ever since he's been in high school, and he even said it himself, he's used to people having the highest expectations out of him to perform, so him doing exactly that on the NBA level is nothing new to him. He has superstar potential written all over him. He has the ideal NBA frame that the modern day NBA has shifted to as a 6'10", 250-pound forward with a 7'1" wingspan. He's a freak athlete. He's got an elite level scoring ability. Arguably, he was the best shot creator in college. He knows how to win, and his upside in practically every aspect of his game is enough to give Magic fans goosebumps thinking about what he can develop into. To give a glimpse of his size at just 19 years old, other players who are built similar to him in the NBA are Ben Simmons, LeBron, Blake Griffin, and Dwight Howard. And why might that be important, you ask? Well, this is once again just a 19-year-old kid who is already the size of some of the strongest players in the NBA. I believe he still has some room to bulk up even more if he wanted to, but this incredible size is matched with a great handle. Therefore, he has the ability to create space for himself and drive to the basket, another area in which he shined in college. And then to make matters worse, he was one of the most efficient short and mid-range jump shooters in college basketball last year. With time in the NBA, as he fine-tunes his game, the more reps he gets in the gym over the years, being able to stop a guy of this size once he's inside the perimeter is going to become less and less of a possibility, as I'm almost certain he's going to develop into one of the deadliest scorers in the NBA with the wide variety of skills he's gifted with. He can use his size to bully you down low. His footwork in the post was great. He was even a great playmaker as the year went on. And lastly, he has the athletic ability and reach to one day be an elite defender in the NBA and showed flashes of exactly this at Duke. He was able to average 1.1 steals and nearly a block per game, and it was his ability to defend one-on-one in space where I truly saw his ability to even guard the opposing team's best players down the road, on top of what I've already preached he can do on offense, as opponents shot just 21.9% in isolation against him. It doesn't end with his ability to guard in space. He's also an extremely versatile prospect who can guard 1 through 5. Again, perfect for the modern day NBA. We saw him have great defensive possessions on multiple guards last season, and obviously with his size and strength, he should be able to hold his own against some opposing centers and allow you to play small ball with him. Now, I know some of you are realizing that I haven't yet talked about his ability to shoot the 3-ball, which is an integral part of the NBA and also a huge hole for the Magic, as they did rank 3rd last in 3-point percentage last year. And honestly, his 3-point shot is actually pretty decent in another area that has tremendous upside, as he has a clean stroke and the right mechanics of a good looking shot. He shot 33.8% from beyond the arc last year, which isn't terrible, but what impressed me was the fact that he actually finished the season off shooting 45% from 3 in his last 11 games, clearly showing the ability for him to improve this area of his game. And if he were to improve his ability to hit long-range jumpers, the question would then become, what can't Paolo Banchero do on the court? For the longest time, I personally felt like Banchero was the best player in this draft, and I even made a video going further in depth about his game where you can check out after this. But what makes him so special is that you can place him in any situation, both offensively and defensively, guarding multiple positions, having the ability to exploit mismatches with his unique blend of size, athleticism, and quickness on offense. He can run the floor on the fast break, set up his teammates. He has the potential to truly be one of the top players in the NBA, and dare I say, I could even see him wind up with an MVP trophy or two if the NBA isn't careful. He's simply just going to be that good. The Orlando Magic may have quote-unquote shocked the world with this decision, as many people thought they would take Jabari Smith Jr., but I think the world is quickly going to realize that this was the right decision made by the franchise, and I think Banchero is going to develop into a bona fide superstar in this league who will be the #1 guy on a championship caliber team. The best part of it all is that he perfectly fits the timeline of his teammates, as this is again a very young core of players, and they're all going to have the opportunity to build a strong foundation alongside one another, which is crucial for a team who has been rebuilding for nearly a decade, with a great possibility of building a potential dynasty, as the multitude of prospects they have is quite unique. On top of the fact that this core will be entering its prime nearly at the same time, outside of Banchero, there are multiple guys who look to be suited for those second and third options to help carry some of the load, especially in the playoffs, as even though you have a top talent in the league, the pieces surrounding your star are still as important with how competitive the NBA has become, and a perfect example of this was the Dallas Mavericks this year in the playoffs. Wagner made the All-NBA rookie first team last year with a magnificent season, missing just 3 games. Cole Anthony at 22 averaged 16, 5, and 5 last season. Suggs being a top 5 pick last year, where even though he didn't have a good rookie campaign, I still see his star potential. Wendell Carter Jr. averaged 15, 10, and over 50% from the field at 23, and the list just continues to go on, where all of these core guys on the roster are just getting started in their NBA careers. Having a solid team is one thing. Having multiple guys who can step up to the plate, especially in the playoffs, can take you very far, and I think the Magic have multiple guys with the potential to do this, but there's one thing that is the most crucial part to an NBA championship level team, and history has backed this up year after year, and that is the importance of having a guy that can elevate his game to an All-NBA level to take your team over the hump. Obviously, Paolo Banchero is nowhere near that level just yet, but he and the Magic have the luxury of time on their hands, as their window to win a championship is still years away, giving Paolo the time to develop into the superstar he's destined to become. He and the Magic have an extremely bright future ahead of themselves. I think there's even a chance this team is a fringe playoff team next year with some of the talent they already have, and I even do believe that Paolo Banchero will win the NBA's Rookie of the Year award because of the situation he's going to be in, the amount of playing time he's going to get, and his already NBA ready skill set that he possesses over the other prospects. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps me out a ton, and if you want to watch a full in-depth breakdown of Paolo Banchero as a prospect, click the video right here.